Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, you finally made it to Friday, folks. We're going to get you geared up and ready for the weekend as we're going to talk about the latest with, of course, the Razorback football transfer portal having popping off already today, but we'll get into some of those players. We'll also get into the weekend with, of course, the Razorback basketball team once again traveling on the road to take on Auburn, looking for a 3-0 start in SEC play. We'll get into all the college football playoff talk and, of course, your chats as we head into the weekend. But, fellas, it's Friday. How are the vibes officially on this Friday?
Really good, man. Yeah, the vibes are strong. I'm pumped up for this basketball game tomorrow. It's a huge road challenge for Arkansas. Kind of an opportunity for them to stamp themselves as a legitimate SEC title contender. You sweep this road trip like that, you're really onto something. And, man, this football team continues to do good things in the transfer portal. And I've kind of gone from, I don't know what this is going to look like. We'll see how it plays out. And you get, a week into this thing and you say, hey, you know what? I look at this and I don't see a bad football team anymore. They're about 3 places in key spots away from me saying, hey, you know what? This Razorback football team might actually be a problem here. So I'm getting pretty excited about what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, like literally 10 days ago, they had a laundry list this long of all these things they needed to get done and things they needed to check off. And that list is just slowly but surely, gotten smaller and smaller. And we'll talk about it in depth. We'll look at the full big picture when it's all said and done, but they're a lot closer to being a real SEC football team than they've been in a while, honestly, like multiple years, which is exciting. It's been a very busy morning. We had DVH talking to the press, to the media today. Baseball season's starting real soon. Big basketball game tomorrow. Football stuff going on. I took a passport photo. It's been a loaded morning at Casa de Ellis.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a busy one, and because there's a lot going on, which makes it great for us and makes it easy for us when it comes to the content side of things, but also makes it great for Razorback fans because there's just so much to talk about and getting into it, which, last night, it was just, we made the joke of like how Dudley's like, man, I hope nobody really pops during the playoff game, and then it just was nonstop. Just nonstop. It did not stop, felt like, for the Razorbacks and having some portal pops, but that's the thing is you just never know really when it's going to happen. And today you had quite a few once again. And the most recent one that I know that's one that's been kind of been talked about and ones that looking at the offensive line, Terrence Roberson has officially signed, I should say, to Arkansas. He is going to be a redshirt freshman. He's out of Warren High School. So he is an Arkansas kid, but he's 6'6", 295, plays that offensive tackle position there. And he's from OBU, which people I'm sure when they see that, they're like, Ouachita Baptist, why do we care about a player from Ouachita Baptist? Well, if you've listened to Dudley and others, this is a guy that had visits and offers from Tennessee, also from various other SEC schools as well. So either way, the offensive line, we know they were building it. Felt like you kind of had your starter group, or at least a potential starter group as of last night, but still adding some pieces there to the big hog mollies up front.
That's right. You can never have too many, man. This is one that I really wanted to get. And, Arkansas got 2 offensive linemen yesterday over the span of like 20 minutes. And we almost spent more time talking about, well, what does that mean for Roberson? Because I really wanted Arkansas to get him. Said it once and I'll say it again. Like, I love the idea of the home state kid who, he comes from humble beginnings, right? And he's got to start at D2 and then he pops, catches up physically, whatever it is. And you want him to try his luck at Arkansas. You see that offer list that he had coming out, and he could have gone to a lot of places in this country that have really good football programs. He chose to stay home for the Razorbacks, and so this is going to be one of those guys that people really root for to have a lot of success now that he's here, and I'm excited about it. And then honestly, you just look at where the offensive line was when we started this show yesterday to where it is now with the additions that they've made, and you suddenly feel a lot better about what they've got going on in the trenches on the offensive side of the ball. So they're getting close, boys, and this is a big addition. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's really hard to have 2 tackles that you actually feel good about and you really don't have a ton of concern about. I mean, you even think about recent history here. I feel like Arkansas loved what they had in Corey Robinson, a veteran that had been one of the best pass protectors in football the year before. And then Marion Harris was kind of coming along, a work in progress. Last year, you had Fernando Carmona playing left tackle. You felt good about him. And then your right side was a complete disaster with Blackstock and Harris kind of switching time. It's hard to have two. And if you look back at even the last decade of Arkansas football, there have been some good offensive lines. It's very rare that they have two tackles they really like. But I think the kid from Louisiana, I mean, it's a 4-star addition according to 24/7 Sports. That's a guy you should feel good about. And Roberson is a guy that a lot of SEC teams have felt good about and wanted to bring in and wanted to see what he could do, and love being able to keep him in the state. I don't know if either of these guys are going to be stars in the SEC, if either of these guys are going to be all SEC type of protectors or not, but they've both played a lot of high-level football, have experience, and, on paper, by all accounts, should be legitimately serviceable starters for Arkansas. And that's a huge step up. And when you knew they had the two holes there at tackle, it could have gone a lot worse for sure.
Yeah, and we know that with the offensive tackle pieces, we last year, for instance, I feel bad in a way. Corey Robinson was actually so good, but it's just no one will remember or really care. You know what I'm saying? He was a really good offensive piece there, and we know that he was arguably the biggest get out of the transfer portal that Arkansas had last season, and maybe one of the more expensive ones. But still, it was much needed, and it's one of those things, just like so many positions in football, but. All offensive line positions are important. I want to get that clear, but you never really know how bad things are if you don't have a solid tackle, especially being on the tackle side of the blind side of the quarterback, because it can really make or break as far as that quarterback and his abilities and his playmaking and everything. And so I'm about options when it comes to the offensive line. Like I said last night, you could have looked at those 5 guys that they had, which they have more than 5, but the 5 guys, you're back, okay, I could see this being the starters. I could see this working out and I'd be okay with it. But it's yeah, that's fine. But how about this? You feel okay with those guys, but then you add a couple more pieces that also could potentially be starters and dealing with any sort of injury. Because I don't remember what year it was. I think it was a Chad Morris year where they had only 8 scholarship offensive linemen or something like that. Yeah, don't do that because we know that injuries can happen. But I'm all about options. I'm all about, even if it's a highly regarded kid coming out of the portal, or if it's a kid that nobody really is too sure of, and then he kind of blows up on the scene like this kid, I don't really care. But I just want as many options as possible because, as we talked about, Ryan Silverfield's an offensive line guy, guys. I mean, that's kind of his thing. So I'm really hoping that it goes a little bit better as Ryan Silverfield, the offensive line guy, than it did the Sam Pittman offensive line guy for so many years.
Yeah, I hope so too. And as I understand it, and I might be wrong, but I don't know that they're necessarily done on the offensive line. In fact, I think they've got some pretty important pieces in town now. So yeah. That's it. We'll see where this thing winds up going. But no, I like this, man. You go out and you get a bunch of bodies. You create some competition. I love the idea of Roberson for all the reasons that I laid out a few minutes ago. I also love the idea of not having to rely on him to hit and to pop right away in the SEC. You're not putting all your eggs in that basket. If it works out, awesome. If it doesn't, or he needs a little bit of time to make the adjustment, well, you got a bunch of other dudes here that have played a lot of football at this level who are going to be able to step in and help. So creating depth, man, especially in the trenches, is really important. I think, the way I'm looking at it now, and feel free to fill in wherever you want there, but I feel like Arkansas is about, like a wide receiver 1 and a productive, veteran proven defensive tackle and a stud safety away from having a pretty damn good looking roster here.
Yeah, I noticed a safety that entered the portal today. Actually, TJ Metcalf. Y'all notice that? That's an interesting one right there. That is the exact kind of guy that I would like to, because you really look at it. Quarterback, they're going to add a quarterback or two, but it's not going to be a big swing. It's not going to be a notable name. Running back, I believe they're probably done, and if they do add someone, it's not going to be a big name. Receiver, you could still afford to really take a big swing there, and I think they will at least put their hat in the ring for some of that. Tight end, I don't think you're taking a big swing there. O-line, they've got 2 tackles now, or 2 tackles at each tackle spot. Adam Hawk, I don't know if he'll be left or right, but him and Kavion Broussard, I feel like, are your backup tackles. And then you've got legitimately 2 starters now in the last 24 hours. You add that with some of the depth they've got in the interior. They'll add guys there, but I don't think they're going to bring in some huge dollar amount guy. So, yeah, I think safety and wide receiver are the ones that if we were going to see a splash in these next few days, it would probably come from either of those positions. They could definitely afford to do it specifically at safety, but I like that the list is just so much smaller now to where we kind of know where they need to take some calculated risk. They need to kind of push their chips to the middle in these specific spots. But at some of these other, I mean, at D-line, O-line, running back, quarterback, whatever, you're really just getting guys that if you can get them, cool, they fit your system, all right. But you're really not having to take some. There's not like a ton of pressure of like you have to go out and get your starting left tackle. Like I think they might at least have that.
Well, I can tell you this, guys. This might be some huge breaking news, but you brought up the DJ Metcalf situation. I think it was like last night was when it was reported, and of course, all the Razorback fans are kind of like, oh, interested in it. You know, I quote tweeted it. It was just like, oh, you know, saying like eyeball emoji, something stupid, I'm sure. But either way, there were quite a few people on the coaching staff that liked my tweet. Just saying,
it's done.
Just saying.
Yeah,
so let's just get crazy with it. But you mentioned him though, and it was funny because, you know, there's so many players that like leave Arkansas or whatever, and then some people would be like, nah, never want them back. You know, whatever, go away. I don't care. And there's some that you would really like to have back. And I'm not saying every fan was this way, guys, but since you brought up TJ Metcalf, I felt like pretty overwhelmingly the Razorback faithful were like, yeah, if you have a chance to, like, obviously, you know, going through the pieces, we don't know how much interest would be there. I assume there would be, because from what it sounded like, it's not like something they just wanted to leave from. But if the opportunity is there, I feel like most Razorback fans would be in favor of bringing TJ Metcalf home, maybe both Metcalfs home, if it meant having some more depth back there in the secondary.
Absolutely. I don't know why they wouldn't be, you know, like didn't feel like they left on bad terms. Hell, given the circumstances, if you look at it now in hindsight, it was clearly the right move to make. You know what I mean? So I get it. It's a new regime now. And if you want to come on back home, man. I'd be all for that. I also saw that, I guess, a Clemson safety that's visiting also, a guy who was an all-ACC player there. So, you know, some options boiling up here at the safety spot, man. So we'll see what they wind up doing.
Yeah, TJ. I mean, TJ's a guy that last year at Arkansas, I would say was pretty much the best member of the secondary. That 2024 Arkansas. Yeah, like I feel like, two-pick TJ. He had some big games, some big moments. Was probably a mini bright spot on an otherwise bad unit. Played over 700 snaps that year for Arkansas, so a ton of experience. Played over 700 snaps for Michigan, and his grades were pretty similar, Arkansas, Michigan. So he didn't take this like massive step forward, but like that's 1,500 snaps right there of like legitimate high-level college football. That's a master's degree, you know? And so at the very least, you would be bringing in a guy who's got a ton of experience and is at least a serviceable SEC safety. And honestly, we always liked him, liked his skill set. I feel like there's maybe a little bit more in the tank. He's a guy that had some big games. Like, I feel like that would be the perfect kind of guy. He's also got some familiarity with Darren Williams. And it doesn't look like Tevis, his younger brother, played a ton at Michigan this past year. Didn't play a ton at Arkansas, but he played some nickel when he was in Fayetteville. So, like, I wouldn't hate seeing Tevis join that little battle with Nigel Pringle, Shelton Lewis, and see what you got there.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know why anybody would be against it. And according to On3, I think we're pretty familiar with TJ Metcalf and his abilities. But according to On3, he would be the 10th best safety in the transfer portal, and as well as the 119th overall best player. So if some of you may be like, and I don't think anybody is, but just in case, if anybody's like anti-TJ Metcalf or bringing him home or whatever, okay, take his name out of it and just look at those rankings, and you can't sit there and tell me you wouldn't take that. Like, yeah, you would absolutely take that. And to your point as well, Curtis, and I know we'll get to a lot more, but man, it's like your question about the roster and putting it together and it being really good. That's kind of where I'm at, which it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be something that you just immediately like, oh yeah, 11 wins, easy. Like, you know, you can't really do it that way, but it at least makes me feel good to where at every single position group where it stands right now, and you'll get more and you could use a little bit more, but like pretty much at every single position group, I see at least one player where I'm like, nice, you know, like, yeah, I like that guy, or yeah, that guy could be really good. You know, and again, it could be up for debate whether or not it's a new addition or just some returnees, like for at the center position. You know, it's like, hey, you got Caden Kittler, so it's not like, oh man, you didn't add any centers. Like, what's going on? It's like, well, you still got Caden Kittler back, but overall, that's what makes me feel really good. It takes more than just one at each group, but you at least have one at each group to make me feel pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, obviously they've still got some depth, you know, that they're going to have to fill out at multiple positions there. We saw some of that today, you know, with the other addition they made with the Baylor linebacker. Yeah. And that's good. You know, you fill out the rest of the roster and make sure you got, you know, competent depth, you know, throughout the course of the thing there. But yeah, man, this is going well. You know, any Razorback fan who has felt snake bitten by, wow, we've heard this before. You know, I'll never forget Arkansas finishes that year with Sam Pittman 4-8, and it's after that Missouri game, and it's tough. And you know, he's up there talking about, well, this new commitment we have to NIL, and we got some things in the works here, and it just didn't happen. And then we heard it again, and then we heard rev share was going to be the great equalizer, and it's just been one thing after another for several years here. And I don't know that they're going out there spending top half of the SEC money, but what I do know is something's working, and maybe we need to start giving a lot of credit to the new GM that Arkansas has here, because he was brought here specifically to be able to build a roster that could compete in the SEC, and they've kind of gotten creative and intentional with how they've gone about doing it here. So, you know, I'm not. What's the expression? Don't want to put something before the skis, or
the cart before the horse. Yeah.
We'll go cart before the horse. There's one with skis that I heard that I've been thinking about ever since we found out all of our listeners are in Montana on the slopes. But at any rate, you know, am I looking at this saying, shit, man, they might go win 10 games? No. But I think they're going to be a heck of a lot better than they were. And I like the approach that they've had here so far.
So I've seen two reactions for the most part to Arkansas's portal class. You've had the people who have said, well, it's not that good of a class. They just brought in 26 guys. That's why they're ranked so high, which, like, by the way, they are correct about that, but also we understand that. And which is also what we said last year when we were like, man, you had 35 guys exit your team. You should be way up there in the portal rankings just because of how many guys you have to bring in, but they weren't in years past. And so I still think it undersells the improvement that they've made year to year here. But then I've also seen some people kind of take this and be like, man, this is proof that they've got a lot of money. Like they're cashing checks. And if you look at the guys, I really don't think that's true. I don't think they've spent a ton of more money. I think they've just done a lot more work as a coaching staff, going out and getting some of these guys. I mean, not to be disrespectful, like you look at some of the names and some of the guys that they've picked up, they were completely uncontested. Like those guys were just there. I mean, there's 4,000 whatever players in the portal. You can go find guys that fit whatever criteria you want. You can find a guy that fits it. You just got to go find them, identify them, reach out to them, get them on campus, convince them to play for you. Because a lot of these guys are dying to play in the SEC, which is what was so frustrating about years past, where you just felt like they left some meat on the bone and you're like, you don't have to spend a ton of money. We understand you're not going to go get dudes, but how do you only have 3 defensive tackles on your roster? You know, like how did you not even just fill the quota of what you need? So at least they filled that quota. And I think both points of view, the points of view that think that they're spending a ton of money and the points of view that think that, oh, they're just, you know, just adding a bunch of bums or whatever. I think both of them kind of discredit what the coaching staff is actually doing, which what they're doing is just working their ass off, like just spending all day and night calling every kid they can imagine and seeing if they want to be a hog. And, you know, not all of them are game changers, but you've got a roster full, which is nice to see considering how many holes they've had in years past.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's something I wanted to bring up, so it's a good segue, but want to remind everybody that here on Inside Arkansas, we have a real estate expert, and it is Gracie Frizzell of Collier and Associates. It was fun hanging out with Gracie and seeing her at my old junior high, Woodland Junior High, where we were filming some content on the basketball court, and she still got it. She can still play, and I think she ended up making about 4 threes in a row out of 5, and I'm not going to tell you how many I make because it doesn't matter, but she's great at basketball. She's even better when it comes to having all of your real estate needs taken care of. She's officially licensed in both Arkansas and in Oklahoma. Whether you're looking for an investment property, a game day getaway, land investment, or even a new home, Gracie is your trusted guide from start to finish. You can give her a call today or even a text at 501-690-3868. That's 501-690-3868 on all questions from real estate. Or you can also check out her Instagram at Gracie Frizz. It's Gracie Frizzell of Collier and Associates, the official real estate expert of Inside Arkansas.
Hey, John, real quick, since you were talking about your basketball prowess there, I don't know if you caught wind or not, but I made a reference to that last night when I was recording the pod at the Palace.
Oh, I have not caught that reference, but I can't wait to hear it. I'm sure it's very complimentary and very nice.
Chris Beard, he said some real nice stuff about Arkansas after the game and Coach Cal. And so I played that clip on the show. And one of the things he said was like, I'm not just saying this so I can get an invite to his fantasy camp. I think he's a really good coach. And I paused it and I was like, if he gets an invite to John Calipari's fantasy camp, John Neighbors is giving him buckets, guaranteed. So I hype you up, man. I'm just letting you know.
Thanks. Well, thank you. No, that makes me feel really good because listen, Just real quick on that, like Gracie, I was kind of just, throwing back the ball. She was getting mad at me because I wasn't giving her the passes that she wanted to have. So I was like, okay, great. I tell them I'm out of my element already. So, but yeah, hopefully Chris Beard shows up. That'd be awesome. I'd love to see him in that fantasy camp. But yeah, to your point though, about the money side, that's kind of my question of like, they have more. I think we all know that they have more. But do they have as much as what we were told? And we don't know the exact number, but just based on where it's at now, I mean, is it like how much more? Is it something to where you're like, yeah, man, like they look like a top half in the SEC type of spending when it comes to this? And I know it's not even done yet, but just how do you guys feel about the situation? Because we know it's all about money. We got told all about money. I think that's what everyone was waiting on, was about the money. Is the money actually there like we were told?
Well, you also don't have a lot returning that you're paying for. So that goes into account too. And so I think some of it is just, and we'll see. We haven't seen these guys play yet. There were additions that, last year that we were excited about that didn't pan out, but it feels like they're utilizing their resources more wisely. You know what I mean? So even if they didn't have any more money at all, I would feel that way. But we'll see if they wind up making a couple more splashy additions here. I'm with you. I definitely think that the situation has improved. I'm still kind of waiting to see what some of these other SEC schools do, because the one thing about Arkansas right now is they have quality too, but it's a lot of quantity. I don't know if they've signed more than anyone else in the country out of the portal or not. They got to be up there in terms of numbers, and a lot of these schools are still being kind of selective. Maybe they don't need as much because they're not flipping an entire roster with a new coaching staff, but I will be anxious to see how it all shakes out, with the final rankings and everything like that in the SEC, kind of like we talked about yesterday and how we would evaluate it. That's going to be kind of telling for where things are financially as well. But this was an entire, it wasn't just about the NIL, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. And it was a commitment, a financial commitment to the football program. So it's the scouting department and the analytics and getting your GM and the people who help you evaluate talent and make the right decisions and spend your money wisely. All that goes into it on top of the money that you have to actually pay your players. And so big picture all around, I definitely feel like their situation is certainly improved from where it was in the Pittman regime.
Yeah, I definitely think their situation, I mean, they probably have more. I do think other SEC teams probably also have more. I don't think anybody is cutting their budget this time of year, but I definitely think that the overall, I mean, you actually have guys that are scouting. You actually have more coaches on staff who are dedicated to recruiting and dedicated to finding all these guys. You have a GM, not only for football, but an overall GM. Remy wasn't even on campus this time last year when they were going through the portal cycle. And so you look at it and you compare it to last year's portal, they're definitely doing a way better job. And I think NIL certainly plays a role in that. But I think the work of the staff and the work of the people who are actually every day committed to this, that's been the biggest improvement to me. And honestly, if you just look at the class, and again, I'm not trying to like undersell or like, make fun of these guys, but like the average recruit ranking for Arkansas's transfer class is still in the bottom 5 or 6 of the SEC. If you go by just average player ranking, but they have 25, 26 of them. So that kind of leads you to say, okay, are they like just overpaying guys just to get them? Is that what's going on? Or are they getting a ton of guys that they know they can get cheap and just getting a ton of them? But if you look at like guys on this transfer class that would demand a huge bag, Kamori House was certainly someone that like probably didn't come for free. I would say both of the tackles, offensive tackles, probably didn't come for free. The corner, Joker Johnson, certainly was one, but it's not like a list. I mean, I don't think anybody on that, they're like paying $2 million to any of these guys or anything crazy like that. So if you really add it up, I don't think they're spending a crazy amount of money. Now we'll see, maybe Metcalf or something like that. There's still some bags to be dropped here, and certainly some guys on the roster, Quincy Rhodes specifically, that's making a ton of money. But if you compare it to last year, I don't think it's vastly different. Because we know they dropped a bag for Omega Blake. We know they dropped a bag for Corey Robinson. We know they dropped a bag to keep Cam Ball and Xavier Sori and a few of these other guys. So it's like, I actually don't think the difference in spending is as crazy as people might think it is.
Maybe it's kind of like you and John Calipari builds his rosters, and everybody knows that Arkansas basketball has plenty of money to work with, but like Cal doesn't get into the crazy bidding wars, and he's not going to be in on the the point guard who's getting $4 million or something. But everybody is fairly well taken care of. Like there's a balance to be had there. And that's kind of what you have to do when you have to build an entire roster or whatever here through the portal. So I think I'm with you, Andrew. It's interesting how they've done this. It's because it's not. There are Moneyball aspects to this in the way that they've gone about it, like finding specific skill sets and getting guys to fill that role as opposed to just position by position type of stuff, and fit and all that stuff matters there. But it's clear with some of the guys that they've been able to get that they're able to play ball a little bit in the financial department too.
Well, the Moneyball reference, which I think that's kind of like what Arkansas, I think we're all under the understanding that that's maybe what they're more leaning towards. It's got this negative connotation in a way to where it's like, hey, listen, everybody would love to do the Moneyball thing if it works, because that's the biggest thing is like the Moneyball thing is a great thing if it's successful, but it's a lot riskier to be successful. It's a lot more difficult to do. It's not just a simple thing, because if it was the case, everybody would do it. You don't think that the Dodgers would love to spend like half of what they're paying to get the same players? Like, sure, they would, but that's just not how it works. It's a matter of, like, for me, you talk about some of the players that you felt like they paid pretty good for, Andrew. It's like I need a couple of those guys where I'm like, okay, they really must have dropped a bag for this guy. Like one of the, like if Akarius Kern, if he would have come to Arkansas, he would have been one of those guys like, all right, yeah, you had to drop a bag for that guy. I'm not saying he would have been the difference maker far and away, but it's like just having at least one of those guys to where you probably overpaid. You probably had, maybe did a little bit more for him for whatever reason it may be. And who knows what position it would be at. But that would have been the one thing that would have made me feel like, okay, maybe they're really in that top half of SEC spending, is if they would have had 1, 2, 3 of those guys to where it's like, not only were they big time players, but they're also guys that we're going to have to draw several millions of dollars in some cases to come to a place like Arkansas, because it's a lot easier. I think maybe I'm wrong about this, guys. I think that if you're Georgia, you could probably get the same player for $500,000 that Arkansas would have to pay $1 million for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's that case. So and both things can be right at once. The spending can be better, which is great, but it also can still mean that it's not what was at least portrayed and promised in the beginning too.
For sure. And this is also, guys, it's really big for the Ryan Silverfield PR campaign here. After the things that he said at his press conference, it's like, I hope they're putting their money where your mouth is, dude. You know what I mean? How do you think Ryan Silverfield feels today, right now in this moment, compared to when it was announced that he took the job at Arkansas? Because I can't imagine, and he knew what he was getting himself into, and he knew he was going to be in a prove it type of position. But I'll never forget that live stream that day when it was announced, and it was bad. I mean, people were down bad. And from that point to now, the way he's handled everything has been really, really impressive. From obviously, putting a staff together that, I don't know if it just blew everybody's socks off, like he said, but it's a solid staff. He's doing good work in the portal, and he's doing all the right things. Like, he's showing up to the men's and women's basketball games, and he's calling the Hogs, and he's getting out there. Now he's doing the thing on social media. I'm almost to the point where I'm thinking, this dude gets it. You know what I mean? People can talk about, he did, what was it, less with more or whatever at Memphis. All these things. We'll see what he looks like when he gets on the field, when he's coaching this team, and we can start evaluating that stuff then. But based on what we've seen so far, the things that we do have to look at and evaluate, he's doing a pretty good job, man. I know, like, all those, every outlet puts out their offseason higher grades and stuff, and he's usually one of the lower ones in the SEC. And I've seen some people were like, I don't know, it's a D- higher. And hell, we felt that way going into it. A lot of people did. A lot of people did for reasons, but he's handled himself well so far, man. And I'm very optimistic about where this is headed.
I could not agree more, honestly. And I definitely think the perception of the fan base is night and day different. And I can't speak for everyone. I can just speak for myself. Andrew Ellis, feel way better than I did the day he was hired, for just given all the context. And listen, I've said this publicly a few times. When Arkansas hired Eric Musselman, I was not excited, only because I remember watching his Nevada team the year before, and I thought they were kind of frauds, and I thought they got a lot of love because they were coming off a Sweet 16 run. And so I felt good about myself for like not buying into them, and then they got bounced in the first round of the tournament. And so when Arkansas hired him, I'm like, that was really my only interaction with him, was through his Nevada team his last year there, and I thought they were kind of mid. So I kind of dismissed him entirely, and I was like, who is this Eric Musselman guy? Like, why is he going to be successful at Arkansas? Then all of a sudden I start meeting Eric Musselman. I start hearing some quotes. I start hearing about his plan of how he's going to make things happen. I start seeing the work he does. And I'm like, wow, this guy's like clearly going to be pretty solid. I'm not saying Ryan Silverfield is Eric Musselman. I'm really not, because they are different and it's different circumstances. And I definitely think Silverfield's taking over a way harder job than Muss was. But I mean, in terms of what, like you said, what we can evaluate, what we have seen, I haven't seen much negative. And what we can evaluate is how you can do the very hard job you're being asked to do. I think he's doing it well. And that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win big in the SEC, because there's a lot of really good coaches who have good intentions and go about things the right way that still lose games in the SEC. And that very well could happen to Silverfield, given some of the challenges. But I do think they're going about it the right way. And I feel a lot better now than I did 10 days ago, and definitely way better than I felt 2 months ago.
Yeah. And again, I can only speak for myself on this. It's like, I was, of course, had a lot of emotional reaction to everything. But as I kept trying to say, and, some people took it as one way or the other, my anger, my emotion was never towards Ryan Silverfield. It was never towards the hiring necessarily of Ryan Silverfield. It was towards everybody else involved. And my biggest thing about Silverfield is I'm like, and we even talked about it as the coaching search went on, guys, right? Yes, we care who the coach is, but what we care the most about is hire the coach that's going to be most financially set up to succeed. Like, if it was Bobby Petrino, okay, fine, so be it. Let's go. But the finances was the biggest thing. And when they hired Silverfield, I'm like, okay, but this has to come with the money. Surely, hopefully, he would not walk into this and not know the financial situation, or not be at least given some assurances from Yurchek and all that. Be like, hey, man, don't, you're taken care of. Because I think that'd be stupid. Say, hey, I'm interested in the Arkansas job. Okay, well, if you want to come here, great, but just know you're not going to have any money. It's like, okay, well, I'm not taking the job then. Like, so hopefully here's what my hope is, guys. I'm hoping that all the things that Yurchek and whoever's involved, that they told Silverfield, the staff, everything that they promised him or whatever, I just hope that they have followed through with it. Because if there was any sort of indication of like, yeah, we got the money, and then a month or two in, you're like, okay, but I thought we had money. Like, I thought we had more money than this. Like, that would be the thing that's most concerning for me. But I hope that Silverfield's feeling just as good, if not so much better about it. I hope that, honestly, I'm hoping that it was one of those cases where he had no worries in the world coming in. He's like, oh, don't worry. I got the money. I got the staff. I know everything that's going to happen. I hope that's the case. But listen, you can only get so many wins in the offseason. You got to win on the field. But for all intents and purposes, every single thing that he's done, the staff has done, I have a hard time finding any sort of major or any negative whatsoever at this point in time. I just truly can't find anything. And if I did, I'm stretching some stuff into being so negative about it. So I feel great about it, man.
I really can't wait to see just what the day-to-day looks like for these guys. We are under the impression that it's going to be, like more open and everything in terms of access and stuff. So I imagine we'll get to see a lot of spring practice and everything like that. And it's like,
yeah, we will.
Yes, we will. And I just hope, well, I don't know what I hope for. I'm just anxious to see the differences. You know what I mean? Yeah. For me, when I started on the beats, like when I was able to be privy to those things, it was Sam Pittman's first year. So all I know from a Arkansas football day-to-day approach standpoint is Sam Pittman. And, obviously you hear about Petrino and, the Bielema days and all that. But all my eyes have physically seen out there is what that looked like. And outside of that, it's just like when I was the athletic trainer for our NAIA football team. Like, I don't know, man. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what changes, the structure, the day-to-day, how active a guy like Silverfield is out there at practice, comparatively speaking. How much, reign does he give his assistants? How much does he make them available? All this stuff is going to be fascinating to me. And then what's the energy going to be like out there on the field, and the intensity levels, and it's all going to be completely different. It's fresh, it's new, it's exciting, and I can't wait for him to get started. Hell, I guess we're 2 months or so away from the start of spring practice. We're not that far.
It's really hard to get me to a point where I'm excited for spring football practice, but I am there right now. Like, I really am fired up to see all that stuff, especially because we might actually get to see it with our eyeballs, which is cool. But also thinking about the money issue, because we're never going to stop this game of trying to figure out. None of us know how much these guys are spending, but we are never going to stop as fans trying to figure out, are we rich? Are we poor? Are we spending a lot? Did we pay this guy a lot? We'll always play that game. But once you get into the actual season, that's when all that conversation stops. Now, obviously, we'll still know in the back of our mind, hey, this kid better perform because he's making a lot of money. But I don't want to hear Silverfield talking about, well, we spent a decent amount, but next year we're going to spend more, and this roster's okay. But, I don't want to do that. And by the way, I don't think he's going to do that. I think even in spring ball, he's not going to sit there and talk about NIL or whatever. He's going to be like, hey, we had a bunch of guys we wanted to get. We went out and got 35 of them, and we like them. We love these guys. These fit our system. I'm excited for that. And also it comes back to the idea, which I've said a long time, perception is reality. Like it really is. And so you look at these schools like Ole Miss, Tennessee, or whoever, and you're just like, oh, these guys are spending a ton of money. The Ole Miss athletic department literally lost money last year. Literally lost money. And I know they spent a lot, but it's like sometimes you do have to fake it till you make it. And I think right now, the fact that we're even having a conversation about is Arkansas spending more money tells you that they're doing something right, because fans look at the results and they say, wow, they've got 25 commits already. They must be spending money. Whether it's true or not, perception does kind of lead to your reality. I just like that fans genuinely don't know if Arkansas is rich or poor or not. And I think that kind of speaks to the work of the staff.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's a good conversation here. I want to remind everybody, though, that Drain Masters of Arkansas is going to have you covered for all of your plumbing and drain cleaning needs. No matter what, if you're in Arkansas or in Oklahoma, they're the best in the business. There's nothing worse than having to deal with plumbing issues or any sort of drain cleaning issues or anything. Just have the pros do it, because it can affect your home. It can affect your business. It can impact so many things of your everyday walk of life. So wait no longer. Get it fixed, get it taken care of, and get it done with the masters, the Drain Masters of Arkansas. You can request a service today by giving them a call at 479-646-5585. That's 479-646-5585. You can also scan that QR code right there on your screen. You can also like them on Facebook at the Facebook page at Drain Masters Incorporated. And whenever you do and request one of those services and have services done, be sure to tell them that the fellas of Inside Arkansas sent you, because when you do, you get 10% off each and every one of your services. That's right, 10% off no matter how big the job is. You get 10% off when you mention Inside Arkansas. So anything and everything plumbing related, no job is too big or too small. Drain Masters of Arkansas has you covered. So what I gathered from that, guys, is that we'll just skip Razorback basketball and baseball, just getting ready to spring football, right? I mean, that's what we're all about, right? Is that what I gathered?
Relax.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I know. It's going to be exciting there too.
Sure.
Real quick, just a couple of things. I know we'll get to chats. We'll get to some basketball talk and everything too. Trinidad Chambliss has been denied his 6th year of eligibility.
Really?
Officially. Yep.
Imagine having your season end the way that it did last night, and then you wake up the next morning. It's like, by the way, your career is also over.
Yeah. Go get a job. I mean, it's basically
fries in the bag, buddy.
That's right. So yeah, that just happened. So that was the case. But I am curious, because this was a point brought up way back. But you talked about SEC teams like spending more than what they did. Is there a team that you look at that you could be like, oh, I could see this team spending less in the SEC this next year compared to what they did this past year? Like, do you think that if there was one team you could bank on in the SEC in football to say, like, yeah, they're probably going to scale back the money a little bit this year, who do you think it would be? Because I have an idea of who.
I was getting ready to say Ole Miss, but actually I don't know that that'll be the case, since they just did what they did. Like, they've proven it now. Like, okay, we got the return on the investment, so maybe we'll keep finding ways to do that. Trying to think who would fit the.
I'll tell you mine. I got Missouri. I think Missouri is I think they're gonna scale some back, only because it's just, given the circumstances, they're not. I'm not saying that Arkansas is a rich school, because Missouri fans are going to get triggered and start saying horrible things to Trevin Brazile again if I ever say anything. But it's like they I feel like they just talk about what I think the term you try to think of was getting ahead of your skis a little bit. I think that was the one you're trying to figure out. Yeah. I feel like Missouri may have done that a little bit, where they pushed it because they felt like they had an opportunity. Didn't happen this past year. So I feel like maybe they're like, all right, well, it didn't work out. We went 7-5. Maybe we just scale it back a little bit.
I would give Eli Drinkwitz his money, but I would tell him what to do with it. And I'd say, hey, idiot, get a quarterback,
Yes.
And the kid from Ole Miss that got benched for Chambliss he's not the answer that you seek. Anyway.
No.
Sneaky, I think, is a candidate for this, Auburn, because Auburn spent big in the portal last year. And I'm sure, I haven't really looked too deeply at their class. I know they're bringing in a lot of South Florida guys. I could see them being one of the biggest drop-offs in spending, just because of how much they were spending last year. I don't know about Florida. Like, has Florida made a ton of crazy moves under Summerall? Last I checked, which was at Blue Ember Wednesday at like 1 p.m., they hadn't done anything too crazy. But really, a lot of these teams, it's like they're paying one quarterback $5 million. You know, which, by the way, I think Miami is where Levitt is now visiting, because it looks like LSU. Although LSU is not going to get the kid from Washington. But anyways, a lot of these teams, it's like they might not spend a ton of crazy amount, but they're spending a lot on one player. That's where Arkansas is kind of in a unique spot where they don't have a position like that where they're spending that much on one dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also throw into the mix, guys, and this is not an insult or anything, but there's a very good chance, given the circumstances of Arkansas and their quarterback spot, Arkansas could end up being the team that spends the least amount at the quarterback spot this next year. If they're rolling with these two guys, like, they're probably the ones that spend in the least amount. Doesn't mean they'll be the worst, but just, something to think about there too.
Oh, it's very true. And actually, I'll go ahead and pull this up now. That way we can save it for later. But I did star this from Shanshaw. It says, I would feel better if we got a sure good enough quarterback. Why can't they spend the money and get someone like Sam Levitt? That would be amazing. There are a couple ways to go about this. Levitt aside, Andrew's he's a Levitt hater, but going out and getting a top flight quarterback, it's like you've got a brand new coach and go get a stud at the most important position or whatever. Well, the reason that they're not doing that is because if they did, and just like you guys were just talking about, if they spent $5 million on a guy like this or whoever, then that's money that you wouldn't be able to allocate elsewhere. So would you have gotten all of these offensive linemen? Would you have been able to get all of these linebackers? Would you be able to pony up for a Kamori House? Maybe not. And so does it come with a little bit of risk here, what Arkansas is doing at the quarterback position? Sure. Of course it does. And when we go into the season, chances are when people are putting out their SEC quarterback rankings, whichever Razorback wins this race is probably not going to be valued very high in that pecking order going into the year. But you just got to bank on the development and then being able to get the job done and kind of realize their potential if you want to fill out this roster with the type of pieces you need throughout the entire field to compete at a high level.
I mean, there's a reason why every NFL team, when they have a quarterback on a rookie contract, that's when their Super Bowl window is. You notice that Mahomes, all the teams he played on, the best teams were on his rookie contract. When you're paying one guy, 40% of your salary cap or whatever, and I know the NFL is a little bit different, it just hampers what you can do. And I think Arkansas made a very clear decision. Hey, we've got 27 legitimate two-deep spots to fill. We're not going to be able to do that if we're paying a kid $5 million. Like, we're just not. Let's play a game for a second. And this game is titled, let's pretend Arkansas has paid every commit they've gotten $500,000. Let's just pretend. If that's the case, you could literally get 12 of them for the price of Sam Levitt. Now, Arkansas is not paying everybody they have $500,000, nor should they, by the way. So it's like, realistically, you're like, they got like 15 to 20 guys that they got that would have cost the same amount as getting one of these top flight quarterbacks. And you guys know how I feel about Sam Levitt, or frankly, a lot of these guys. Like, I think Sorsby's better than Levitt. Like, I think Sorsby's good, but I'm like, dude, is he really, really worth that much? And if you end up winning the national title and he's the piece that pushes you over the top, sure, that's when you spend that big money on a quarterback. When you're one quarterback away from being a national title contender, that's when dropping $4 or $5 million, it's like, hey, you can get some boosters in the state to maybe agree on that. Arkansas is not a quarterback away from the college football playoff. They were, like I said, like 27 two-deep spots around the field away from being a competitive SEC team, which was their priority. I actually have no problem with them not spending big on quarterback.
Yeah, and I know that we'll have some other things too, but I feel like not all of them, but maybe this is just a stereotype. I feel like the quarterbacks that got paid the most this past offseason or the transfers didn't really necessarily always pan out. I know like Garrett Nussmeier was one of those that got a lot of money. Didn't pan out, but then you got Trinidad Chambliss over here, who's probably he came over for like a gift card to Waffle House or something. Like, he's out there in the playoffs. But then Carson Beck's probably one of those guys, he got paid. So it's like there's a balance to it. The point is like, there's different ways to skin a cat. You can do it different ways. You don't have to yes, in theory, it's like you want that big time name quarterback and all that, but has been proven sometimes you can make it work. Like, I don't think Diego Pavia was one of those guys that just was, oh man, highly coveted. And then he just fit in. So you can do it in different ways for sure.
I do want somebody in the chat to fill us in on the multiple ways to skin a cat though.
Don't see now you're going to start.
I thought about that.
I'm going to mute it. I'm going to mute the chat.
Just let me know.
Yeah, that's going to be bad news all around. Jeez. We'll get to your chats, though, folks. Don't worry. Not the skinning the cat part. I'll try to skip over those. But we'll get to the chats. And just before because I would want to bring up the basketball side of things, too. Before we move on, just a couple of things of note, nothing too crazy, but Arkansas did have, or I should say, former Arkansas player Shaq McCrory has committed to North Carolina, so he's following Bobby Petrino over there, so good for him. Also, finally, we got word on Jaheim Singletary has entered into the transfer portal. So
pour one out, boys. Pour one out.
Man, it was like just funny because I'm like, all right, well, I kept wondering. I'm not saying that like I was waiting for him to transfer, but I kept wondering, like, all right, when is this going to happen? Like, you're getting all these guys, all these cornerbacks, and then you're just still over here. So it's like, all right, when are you going to end up moving on?
Former 5-star, you can't keep him on the roster. I take back every positive thing I said today.
That's going to hurt Arkansas's team talent composite on 24/7 when the season rolls around, because he was holding up a little his end of the bargain. I genuinely do wish James Singletary well. Obviously, he didn't play great at Arkansas, but it's like I have no reason to feel ill will toward the dude. I mean, he was here for some tough times personally and as a team. I hope he has a nice little final chapter wherever he ends up, honestly.
Yeah. A lot of people are just like, they see like him or Sori or whatever, and they're so mad, which I get it. Like, if you don't play well, but it's also like, I don't blame the kids for being 5 stars coming out of high school. Like, it's like they didn't have any say in that matter, but no, I totally get it. But either way, so we got, again, any portal news, we'll be able to have it right here at Inside Arkansas, so be sure to subscribe to us. But we also know that Razorback basketball is happening tomorrow, which almost feels like just 5 minutes ago the game against Ole Miss ended. It's that quick turn, but that's SEC play for you, boys. I mean, you have those quick turnarounds we know Muss hated so much. But this time you're going on the road to Auburn, team that's 0-2. I'm not sitting here saying that Arkansas for sure is going to win or anything, but and starting 2-0 is awesome. But man, there's something like kind of like really cool and special starting 3-0. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I can't remember in my lifetime it ever happening for Arkansas. I'm sure it has, but going 3-0, especially with 2 of those wins being on the road in the SEC, man, that'd be pretty sweet. That'd be a pretty good start there for what would it be, the first 6th of this conference slate, or however you want to put it. Yeah,
this could be this would be every bit as much of a statement win if Arkansas is able to go get it as beating Tennessee, at home was. Auburn not as good as Tennessee, but very dangerous. They played a very tough schedule. Here's the thing though, they're backed into a corner. And that's what makes me uncomfortable about this. I feel like Arkansas is walking into a hornet's nest in this game. I really do. I don't like the timing of this. The jungle is a hard place to play. I was looking it up, and coming into this year, they had lost 5 home games in the last 4 seasons combined. Now they just lost one to Texas A&M, so you can go in there and beat them, but they've got a lot of individual talent. They're trying to figure some things out. They're 9-6. They're 1-5 in quad 1 games. And so now they've got a top 15 team coming into their place where they're desperate for a big win and they're pissed off about it. So if Stephen Pearl has any chops at all as a basketball coach, he's going to have them ready to play, and they're going to give their best effort of the season against Arkansas. It doesn't mean Arkansas can't beat them if they do that, because Arkansas is the better basketball team, but they got to be ready for that. Like, Arkansas is going to have to come out there from the tip, match intensity out there on the floor, weather any storms, because Arkansas likes to do this thing where a mini run snowballs and it turns into an avalanche, especially when they're not at Bud Walton Arena. So they got to tighten up some leaky stuff on the defensive end. But this is a really, really interesting spot for Arkansas. They lose this game, whatever. You're fine. It's a quad 1 game. You split the road trip. You're 2-1. You're still in a great spot. But if they win it, this is the type of game that championship level teams go and figure out. And so that's why I'm really interested to see what the outcome is. But this is you can look at it and say, well, Auburn, man, they lost to Georgia and A&M. They're very vulnerable. That's also when they may be their most dangerous. So be on the lookout for this one. A lot of points are going to be scored.
Yeah, I haven't seen if there's a line that has been put out for this game, like gambling spread or whatever, but I would venture to guess it has there, John. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, Auburn's favored.
Yes, Auburn's favored by 1.5, according to Bet SARACEN.
Yeah, which I know Hog fans are going to look at and be like, that's crazy. Yeah, all the metrics, all these nerds that do these things, they all think Auburn should be favored in this game as well. And frankly, like I don't have much of a pushback against it for a lot of those reasons. You're never going to face an 0-2 team with this much talent. You're never going to face an 0-2 team that can score at the level this Auburn team does. Even in their loss, I mean, they're averaging 98 points or whatever in SEC play in their 2 losses. Like, they can really fill it up, and we know Arkansas has some struggles here and there on the defensive end, especially around the perimeter. So this is a dangerous matchup. I'm with you that this is the type of game that if you're a real serious team, you take care of business. And I think Arkansas winning this game would signal that to everybody. I also think, Curtis, you said something interesting the other day on the postgame show. You said Arkansas is now even in true road games. Am I correct in thinking that's 1-1?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're 1-1 because they just had the one, in East Lansing. You lose that one, and then you win a true road game on Wednesday. Like, that's it. Getting a second true road win of the week and of the year, not completes the Arkansas resume, but that would make this the most productive week Arkansas has had from a resume building standpoint, which may seem weird because you don't think of Auburn as this like dominant force. Like, Arkansas's played better teams. They've certainly faced tougher tests than Ole Miss, but winning 2 true road games would do a lot towards kind of cleaning up some of Arkansas's metrics. And if you lose this game, then you could have a position where you might beat Vanderbilt at home and people could still point and say, yeah, but at home, you're a different team. Road, you're not as good. Go ahead and end that by winning tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the folks there, we got, of course, we'll check out the game tomorrow and mention that Arkansas is a 1.5 point underdog. The over under set at 168.5. So yeah, I about to say I feel like, again, if there was ever a game, I feel like it would be like that Arkansas-Kentucky game where both teams scored like 105 points in regulation.
Yeah, dude.
Or more. It would be this one.
You're not going to find another game in the SEC where 2 teams are more potent offensively and less potent defensively until Arkansas and Alabama play later in the season. Like, Auburn's outside the top 100 in defensive efficiency. Against high majors, they're giving up like 90 a game. In SEC play, they're giving up 97 a game so far against 2 offenses that are not as good as Arkansas. So the Razorbacks are going to score. Can they get enough stops? And the pain is sweet against Auburn, by the way. So I hope Arkansas is not settling for threes, but they'll obviously need to knock some down. It's 2 guys that you got to worry about. Keyshawn Hall, one of the best scorers, not just in the SEC, but in the country. The big thing about him is it's a weird matchup because he kind of plays the de facto 4 for them, but he's a big guard. He's like a point forward. So how will Arkansas handle that matchup? I would not do it with Trevin. I'm just telling you right now, because this dude, Keyshawn Hall, is a foul merchant. He gets to the free throw line more than anybody else in the country. And we know when Trevin Brazil's in foul trouble, Arkansas sucks. So I would just rather not even give that a chance. If you need to move to it in the second half or whatever, fine. I wouldn't do that early in the game at risk of getting him in foul trouble. But you got to contain him a little bit. At the same time, he's had 30-point games and they've gotten their asses blown out. So he's not necessarily the key to winning basketball. I look at Tahad Pettiford for Auburn, who it's so weird. He's averaging over 20 points per game on the road, and he's averaging 8 points per game and shooting 14% from 3 at home.
Ooh.
I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense, but he's super talented. He's that type of explosive, off the bounce type of guard that Arkansas has not been able to keep in front of him and keep out of the paint all season. They got to be locked in on the defensive end against that dude. And you just got to string together enough stops or get enough turnovers to outscore them. If this is some kind of defensive slugfest, I would be stunned. Sometimes you get that where you're like, oh man, it's going to be a shootout. And then it's just not. And it's just the way it works. I just don't see it possible that both these teams don't score over 85 points in this game.
Well, and I'll also throw this in too, because I know we'll get to your chats. I know I bring up Saracen, but man, it kills me. Darius Acuff to record a double-double plus 750. Like, just it's like 750. To him to record 10 plus assists is plus 800. So it's like, okay, well, if he's not going to get in rebounds. So it's like, if you feel like he's going to get one, then get him the other. But some really, really good ones there. And if you think he's going to do it by scoring 30 or more points, also at plus 650. So you could go for a huge trifecta there of some plus money. But they brought a lot of great specials back. They actually brought back I don't know, maybe they did the last game, but who wins the tip-off? They brought that one back too. So I'm glad that
Hogs have been getting it handed to them on the tip-off, low-key.
They have.
Well, Arkansas's favored to get the win, minus 130 in this one to win the tip-off, if that's the case. So.
Hey, did y'all know that at KenPom they keep up with that stat? Like your success percentage of jump balls.
I did not know that.
It's the craziest thing. Give me 1 second. I'll pull it up here and tell you exactly what Arkansas's was. Trevin, he did rank pretty high, but he hasn't been nearly as good this year as he normally is. Let me see if I can find this. Yeah, the jump ball ratings. Okay. So Trevin Brazil, he's 21st in the country. He's only 4-4 this season, but he's 42-21 in jump ball opportunities all time. This is the kind of stuff that people keep up with now. Isn't that weird?
It's crazy.
I'm scrolling down trying to see where like the Keyshawn Murphy dude is from Auburn. I'm not even seeing him on here. So and maybe he hasn't even done it all that much. But anyway,
No.
Last year, Arkansas was automatic with Z.
Yeah.
yes, they were.
I'd say I feel like the worst thing is imagine being the guy or the team that's dead last on that list, where you're like, yeah, you're not even going to try to jump for the ball. Like we just don't win it ever.
Like
there's somebody.
You remember that 7'2" dude that kind of stunk, but from Cincinnati for that exhibition? Like he's undefeated in jump balls. He's perfect game out there.
Hey, everybody's got to have their thing.
He's jumping a perfect season.
Yeah. Hey, everybody's got to have their thing for sure. So, but yeah, that's probably where a lot of that comes from. Either way, there's a lot of specials there on SARACEN, folks. A lot of ones they've added. If you're feeling Arkansas and Auburn coming up tomorrow. But again, we'll have Pod at the Palace post-game show following that one. And it sets you up really nicely. And shout out to producer intern Cameron, who says that Arkansas has not started 3-0 in the SEC since 97-98. So last time I checked, that was during the Clinton administration. So it's been a minute since you've been able to do that. And again, it would be so cool just to see 3-0. And I know that means more than that, but then it sets you up. You got South Carolina at home. I feel like, real quick, guys, before we get to the chat, I think they go to Georgia, right? A week from tomorrow, they go to Georgia. I feel like you got to split that Auburn and Georgia road. Like just as long as you do that, yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, sure, I guess you maybe better to beat Georgia. Of course, I don't know. They're ranked right now, but doesn't mean because I know they lost already this week. So,
either way, both of them are going to be solid quad ones the whole year. So, yeah. But it's weird, man, because Auburn, they come across as more of the basketball school, right? So you think, that would be a bigger win. But you're right, John's like, Georgia's ranked right now. If they lose Saturday, they probably won't be at the end of the week. I don't know. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Just give me one.
Yeah. That's right. All right, let's get to your chat, folks. But I want to remind everybody that Hickey & Hull Law is the official law firm here of Inside Arkansas, because we know that divorce and custody cases are far too important to try and face alone. So let Hickey & Hull Law provide you with the persistent and diligent representation to help guide you through their entire process, because they have handled thousands of family law cases and have experienced nearly every scenario that has ever come up. And they also push the case forward for their clients, advocating for them in a diligent and consistent manner from start to finish. They know that every case that they take is important, and they strive to give each one the utmost time and care that it deserves. So go ahead and give them a call, because they have offices across the entire state of Arkansas, and they handle divorce, custody, criminal cases, civil litigation cases, personal injury, and estate planning. They do it all. And you can call them today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Or you can check out their website at hickeyandhull.com. Scan that QR code right there on your screen as well. It's Hickey & Hull Law. Things are about to get better. All right, so let's go ahead and get to your chats, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in today. And let's start with Steven here. Go ahead and get you a little bit of there you go. I'll get you that one. Appreciate it, though. He says, have y'all looked at the adjusted NIL team rankings on On3? Seems like they're spending money wisely and while staying competitive, as well as leaving enough in the tank for a couple of big pops. To answer your question, yes, I actually am probably the only one that really truly thinks that's cool, because I'm a nerd like that thinks those rankings are cool. But I have checked it, and it's not that it's like inaccurate or anything like that. It's just, they're just estimations and valuations. Like, it doesn't mean that it's for sure where everything's at, but it does give you at least a little bit of a ballpark. Because Arkansas right now, though, they dropped to 16th, guys. They were number 10 last night, dropped to 16th. So got some work to do, but
slipping.
Yeah.
Has On3 figured out that Charlie Collins is no longer in the portal?
I don't know.
I noticed
they're
yesterday
slow on
he
some
was
stuff, man.
Yeah, yesterday he was still listed as like one of Arkansas's outgoing guys, which they take into account in their ranking.
I'm looking at it right now, and yes, they still have him on the transfer out. And so,
Clean it up, Nakos. Come on.
I know, and not only that, but it's like, again, I'm not here over complaining or anything, but they miss on some guys too. Like, it takes like days before they show up on the portal. I know you're following like 130 teams.
Sure.
I get it, but it's like, I don't know, just follow the official accounts and have their notifications turned up. Have someone handling it. But yeah, so that may jump them a little bit, Andrew, if they can get that part of it figured out.
So,
make it work.
Not that we were expecting anything otherwise, but Cam Settles just kind of tweeted out that he's running it back. He's not going anywhere, which great, because I'm excited about the potential there. But one of he had two pictures that he put out there on Twitter. One of them.
Oh, wow.
To be balling, you got to be all in.
Dude. I'm telling you, bro, we got a culture building on the hill.
Cam Settles, that's my guy, man. He's my new favorite player. That's good stuff.
That's fantastic. You said he tweeted that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta go find that tweet.
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty good.
outstanding. That's outstanding.
I love it, man.
Yeah. Hey, like you said, buying into the culture. Balls deep, balls in, all in, whatever. Hogs by 2. It's like whatever. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Shout out to Bo Subtle. I don't know if I started wanting to call him Settles. I'm like, I don't know if there's any relation, but either way, appreciate the super chat. He says, went to Little Rock to pick up a part for work. They had Inside Arkansas playing over the speakers in the shop. It spreads. That's cool.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, we are all about that. We're all about spreading the word, the good word of the Razorbacks here on Inside Arkansas. I mean, between that and our intro being played at Yeehog in the middle of the day, I don't know. Like, what else do we need, guys? I mean, we've made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've made it. But no, that's awesome, man. In fact, let us know what place the part that you were going for work, because who knows? Maybe it's something cool there. But either way, Josh Byers, appreciate you. Super Chat goes, agree with Curtis. We need to shut down safety and a future NFL pick at wide receiver 1. Need this to be better than 6-6 next year, in my opinion.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Get those 2 things, and you're a hell of a lot closer to being in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which isn't that kind of crazy that we're like at the point, because of the hype and excitement and all that, they're like, yeah, they have to go. They can't just go 6-6. They have to do like better than 6-6. It's like, which is weird.
Hey, were y'all body shaming wide receivers on the show last night? I didn't get a chance to listen, but I was reading the comments this morning. I saw a bunch of people being like, "Oh, Lance Allworth wasn't a big guy."
I don't think so. I think it was actually this show that we were talking about Courtney Crutchfield getting fat shamed.
Yeah, I
think
the only thing Dudley said something about getting a taller wide receiver.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, well, because that was something I know. The only thing I brought up that I could think of is that I said that you went from a time where you had like wide receivers, everybody was 6'4" or above, and then you go where you're a little smaller, but it just seemed like besides Antonio Jordan that you had like 6'1" guys and smaller. Yeah, I think
right.
That was it. So.
I guess the New Mexico State kid, that's like now they're one of their biggest guys because he's 6'1".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Folks get triggered though. They get real triggered. We saw the tweet yesterday about Arkansas being 2-0 in the SEC for the first time in a decade or whatever. And all I did was quote tweet it, and I was like, that's crazy considering all the success that the program has had in just the last half decade, And right away, somebody commented, it was like, yeah, but they've had 3 losing seasons in 4 years in the SEC. Fans deserve to win more games besides just March. I'm like, why don't you relax, guy? Okay, take a chill pill there.
It's just a funny thing to note that, hey, a team that's been to several Elite Eights and Sweet 16s hasn't went to it on conference. It's not that deep,
man. Yeah, like put the fangs away. Goodness gracious,
love that.
It always makes it fun for me too to read that stuff. Let's see. Also, Big Lefty says Silverfield seems to be out recruiting Golish. We got what we needed. Is that true?
In any if there's any form of competition to be had between Silverfield and Golish, Silverfield's winning.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I mean it's just par for the course here.
Yeah.
Listen, I really actually don't have much ill will in my heart towards Alex Golish, but I will find it and I will develop it and I will find a way. Like we are making this a rivalry for sure. You made me look like an idiot at Thanksgiving dinner with my family. Like I will never forget that.
Oh yeah, it's a rivalry, but yet unfortunately they don't play each other. So that's the bummer. We don't get to see Arkansas.
We'll find them.
Yeah, because it's what's crazy, guys. Like they don't play. It's the new schedule. I have to think about it. It's like they don't play Auburn. They don't play Mississippi State. It's like they don't play these teams. It's just going to be so different. But yeah, I'm with you. Let's see. Ryan wants to know who is y'all's number 1 on the wish list from the portal as of today. Malcolm Simmons for me. I know it's not probably likely, but if anybody of interest, I'd like to have him, the Auburn wide receiver.
That'd be fun. Yeah, he'd be up there on my list too, or maybe one of the two between TJ Metcalf and this Clemson safety, the All ACC guy that's visiting. Either one of those would be fun.
Yeah. I'd despite the fact that DK Metcalf turned out to maybe ruin his team's chances or tried to ruin his team's chances in the playoffs, I do love me a good Metcalf boy. So I'd have him way up there. If they don't get Simmons, I would gladly take Iverson Hooks too.
Yeah.
Has he said anything, or is he going anywhere else?
I don't know.
Yeah. Dude, it's so hard to keep up with.
In terms of guys they realistically could get, I think if they got Hooks, I would look at the receiver room and be like, wow, they've got like 4 or 5 competent dudes, which, wouldn't excite anybody, but it's like, I like the possibilities there. But yeah, go get me a legitimate safety and I'll feel pretty good about the defense.
Yeah. Iverson Hooks has not done anything other than just he's still visiting. So, yeah. What you need to do is just go find you another Andrew Armstrong. Just go to Texas A&M Commerce and get you one of them 6'3" guys and just bring them in. Just make that happen. It's really easy.
Before we started the show, I was watching. I always like to pay attention when battles play out in the chat. I like to watch them. But there was one guy that was like, "I don't want us to get any of these FCS wide receivers," and he was referencing Hooks, who is not an FCS wide receiver. And then someone came in and was like, "Well, an FCS receiver, that's what got us Isaac Tesla, who was also not an FCS wide receiver." It was just funny. Like both sides is like, no, we're both wrong here.
Shout out to Steven for the super chat. Appreciate it. Says coming up to Rogers for work from Texas the next couple of months and hoping to catch a basketball game while I'm there if work allows. Well, hopefully you have plenty of opportunities. I guess I don't want to go out on a limb here, but I'm like, that South Carolina game might be one of your best bets next week. Midweek game, I think it's an 8 p.m. one on, South Carolina is not exactly a team that brings in a lot of, pomp. So, maybe one of those might be your best bet because the rest of them are going to be pretty wild.
Unless you want to try to sneak in for that Valentine's Day game against Auburn. People are going to be out with their honeys and they don't know ball, so they're not making the date at Bud Walton Arena. You might be able to hop in for that one. By the way, Arkansas does play Auburn in football next year.
They do?
Yeah, they go there. Don't they?
Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, I assume you're right because for some reason, I always get them in Mississippi State on who they actually play again.
They don't play Ole Miss. I know. I thought that they went
thing.
to Auburn. Matter of fact, I can just look it up I'm sure it's on the site.
Yeah, you're right. They play at Auburn November 7th. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. All right, my bad. Yeah, they don't play Mississippi. That's what it is. They don't play. Yeah, kind of thing. They don't play either teams in Bama, but no, they don't play either teams in Mississippi. So
Golish, you don't get to escape, buddy.
Arkansas does have to play Bama this year, right?
No.
Wait again. Bro, we haven't played Bama in a decade, and I'm
not or Oklahoma. Yeah, it's Georgia.
Sheesh.
This year, and then
I mean, you get Tennessee, like the random quote random teams that you get, if you want to call them that, is like you go to Vanderbilt, you get South Carolina at home, and then I guess if you want to call the Georgia kind of random, but you get Tennessee for like the fourth year in a row. It feels like, and which is fine. I mean, I like playing Tennessee, but yeah. This new format of schedule, it's going to take some getting used to.
I don't know if Arkansas is losing any of these games. I'm just messing with you. I just want to rile people up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Hey, well, listen, we'll find out. All it's going to take is them like going on the road to Utah and winning. And everyone's like, oh, man, I see his team.
Dude, if they beat Utah on the road, I'm going to be sunshine pumping like ain't nobody's business.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You should, honestly. You should. Let's see. Ryan says, can we give Finch a shout out today? He got some not so great news yesterday, and I think he needs a little boost from the Inside Arkansas family. So, don't know what it is, man, but hopefully everything's okay.
He'll be all right. Tough time for our man Finch, but he's hanging in there. I shot him a message to check on him because there's nothing which you don't want to put people's business out there, But when it's like all these people in the chat, they're like, prayers up, thinking about you, man, and you're just sitting here like, okay, well, what's going on, So. Shot him a message and know what's going on. And thoughts with you, brother. Hang in there. He's fighting a good fight, though. He's been in here today.
Yeah. Well, good deal. Good deal. Let's see. Evan says, I was skeptical when I saw the Wichita guy, but then quickly changed when I saw who else offered him, which
that'll do it.
That's an easy way to know how good you got it now.
An appropriate line of thinking, I would say.
That's right. Razorback says, curious where Silverfield went to culinary school because this dude is cooking. You know what? I'm going since we're back on radio, boys and girls. I got my soundboards and stuff. We're gonna really start doing some stupid stuff here, because it's like I figured out, guys. No one cares about this, but I figured out, because you usually just hit it and you play it, but now I can do it to where it's almost like a DJ, like with Mike Brings Bang. I can just be the. So now I can really, be like a real DJ over here, and stuff.
That's solid.
Yeah. I'm not going to use it too much because I don't want to annoy it. You got to earn it. You got to earn those soundboard bites. Let's see. Also, we talked about that. Woo MF Big says, Curtis, I had a dream that Boogie transferred back here next year. Please tell me that isn't a possibility.
It is not a possibility. Promise. I'm sorry about your dream.
Yeah, that's quite the dream. And that's not happening. Addison says, I am turkey trotting to the intro song right now. So that's good. Love that. Yeah, we had some, again, more people kind of giving us some shout outs to the intro, which is great. Shout out to our guy Gibb, because even our guy William said, he's like, I know it's been said, but it's the best intro period.
There we go.
Listen,
there we go.
I'm telling you, it's so ridiculous, but it's so awesome. This is why I love Gibb for doing it. It's like, I can't tell you, I'm sure you guys get the same thing of like, man, y'all's intro song's kind of cool. Like, it's kind of banging. I'm like, yeah, it is.
It grows
yeah,
on you, right? It really does.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. Love that. Let's see. Also, Samuel says, Curtis, an hour-long episode of Parp.
Parp, baby.
Parp. This morning, loved it. So
yeah, I you know me, man. I got to ranting. The later I record, the longer the episodes are, because you kind of lost all your faculties and your filters, and you just ramble and ramble and ramble. That's what happened last night. I had a very specific plan. I went into it like it's gonna be a good one, like probably in the 35-40 minute range, and then I looked up at the end. I was like, good Lord, I gotta shut up, get out of here. But thanks for everybody who listened. It was a fun show.
Okay. I saw this from this Tongue Pie. That's a Kentucky fan, but he says Cal is going to win the SEC title, which I mean we could discuss. But I wanted to ask you guys because I pulled it. Did you see everyone freaking out about Mark Pope's quote?
Oh my God! Yes, I did.
I pulled the video, so let me bring it up. I haven't heard it and listened to it, but I just saw the masses of our friends over there in Kentucky. They were kind of freaking out about it.
If you're triggered by John Pelfrey vibe, then go ahead and,
he ups the ante on John Pelfrey's most famous quote. Let's just leave it at that.
All right. Well, let's hear from, I think this is the one. So let's hear from old Mark Popey.
There's no time for indulging in feeling terrible. I spent a lot of time feeling like I'd like to curl up in bed and kill myself, but that's actually not what we do. We raise up and we get to work and we find answers, and that's actually where the great part of life comes from, is answering the bell when everybody thinks you can't do it, shouldn't do it, won't do it, aren't going to do it. Most people are too scared to go there. We're not. Right? I wish we weren't here right now, but it's where we are, and so it's us rising up and doing it. So there's no time, there's no hangover. That's not acceptable. It's not okay.
So, John, that really was the first time you had seen that video? Like,
I just saw that everyone was freaking out about it or like complaining about it. I didn't know that it went to that level. Good grief.
It's getting dark over there. Cats, get your boy. Get your boy.
What is happening,
also, like,
man?
Not to be weird here, but like, because I thought about retweeting it and like quote tweeting it and making a joke, but then I was kind of like, I don't want to joke about suicide. Like, I think that may be a step too far. Is he going to get in trouble for that? Because I feel like you're not allowed to joke about that.
I mean, listen, it's going to be one of those deals to where, if Kentucky fans, if they like want him like fired and want bad things to happen to him, they're probably going to be like, dude, we got to cancel. This is not acceptable. Like, I could see Matt Jones being like, what are we doing here? We're joking about, committing Sudoku around here. We can't be doing these things. Like, this is bad. Like
the biggest thing for me was the way, because, like you say stuff like that all the time, and, you obviously don't mean it literally, but the way that he then said, that's actually not what we do here. And I was like, yeah, I'm with you. I hope not.
Yeah.
That's not part of our culture here at Kentucky basketball.
Yeah.
Man, dude.
That was ridiculous. Again, it goes back to him. Like, why does everything have to be so next level, like emotionally dramatic? Yes. I'm like, dude, it just wears thin. And I'm not even a Kentucky fan. And I can understand why Kentucky fans may wear thin on them pretty quickly because you're not winning. But I'm like, good grief, dude. It's like when things are good or when things are bad, doesn't matter. You're just over the top with it, no matter what it is. It's just unreal, man. It's unreal. Okay, well, I'm glad we got to check that out because that's pretty great. Because even our guy Shargansall says in the chat, says sometimes a warrior just needs to lay down and have a good bleed.
Yeah,
just bleed.
It's crazy that he's taking an inspiration from his former. Did they play together at Kentucky, or is they maybe different eras?
No. Pelfrey was there when he backed off of Leitner in the early '90s, and I think Pope was on that '96 team. So I think that they just missed each other.
Gotcha. But he's just taking inspiration from another former Kentucky legend.
Mm-hmm. Is Pelfrey still is it Middle Tennessee or something like that?
Tennessee Tech. Yeah.
Okay. I always will love Pelfrey. I always like him. I know he wasn't the best coach here, but he's one of the few Kentucky guys in my book that's A-okay.
I just remember a few years ago talking to Trey Biddy, and he said, the thing about Pelfrey that I just never liked is he's always late to everything, man. Just never showed up on time. That was his biggest gripe with Pelfrey. Just never on time, always late.
Oh, man. Well, Cats by 21. Jeez, Cat says, I wish you would. Like before
Chill
tomorrow's
out.
game phase.
Hey,
Yeah, we got to
let's-
relax, Cats.
Let's
Right?
Well,
Let's
this
just
is
not
what
get
made
One of
crazy
y'all might
here.
do it for him if he loses another game. So poor guy,
I mean, truly,
he's not safe from himself or from the fan base over there, man.
it's rare that I think about things before I speak on them, but like I really did have to take a step back where I was like, I don't know if it's like appropriate to joke about this. I didn't want to. I held back a quote tweet because I was a little worried.
I didn't
No.
hold back a quote tweet.
Well, again, it's like it's one of those things to where, yeah, it's like, we could sit here and really get into the weeds of all that stuff, and like, should he not said it or whatever. But again, as bad as it is, it's not even just that what he said; it's just the level that he takes it to. Like that's what it's really about. It's like to me, just hey, you're struggling, okay, man. It
Basketball
happens. Yes, it happens. Like I'm sure as a guy who's a former athlete, you can't sit there and say like, did you cry after every game that you lost and be like, we got to get this going, guys? Like, have you did that as a player? Like, I just
Well, dude,
can't,
it
I just
didn't
don't
help 'cause
understand it.
The other day after they lost, he had this quote where he was like, our guys aren't going to quit. Our guys aren't going to fold. And, we're going to embrace this thing and attack it head on, which is like the right thing to say. But then like to openly admit, be like, oh yeah, when I get home, I like curl up into a ball. I don't know. That's a tough one to me.
He's feeling that way. And before they can even get out of their locker room, he's got guys on the team after a loss like that posting their own personal highlights, and one of the dudes is selling his hats, selling a bunch of hats.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe there needs to be a balance there. You need to chill out a little bit, and they need to care a little bit more. Maybe that's what's the issue at Kentucky is.
Yeah, maybe so, man. Good grief, dude. That's just still wild to me. I'm glad we got that out of the way. Rough times over there. Let's see a few other. Hey, shout out our guy JM Sky says, "Hey gang, how's it going over there in NWA WPS?" Well, not too good, JM, because we're not on location anywhere for you to buy us something from the company that we're at. So, but no, we do appreciate the barbecue we got from Blue Ember. It was awesome and great being there too. And again, first Wednesday, folks. I don't know what day it is in February, but the first Wednesday we'll be back at Blue Ember for that. I feel like didn't we talk about this? Isn't there like a good game that night too on the first Wednesday of February? Or am I just tripping balls over here? Which is very likely of what would be happening. I think that's the 4th, which is there's no game that night. It's like when they get their week off or whatever.
Oh, it's like post Kentucky.
Yes.
Okay.
Before they go on the road to the hump dump. So, but either way, we'll still be there. Razorbacks may not be playing that week, but we'll still be at Blue Ember. Shout out to Guy Grant for the super chat. I'll give you a little air horn there. Grant says, my dad, now I feel really horrible. Okay. It says, my dad died. And then my dad died that way 3 years ago yesterday. Not cool, Mark Pope. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Grant. Man, that's terrible, dude.
Yeah.
Man,
Don't let Mark Pope's comments get you down, man. That's
yeah.
Now to think about it, didn't Rick Pitino do this last year too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So we just reached our quota for the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good grief. Yeah. So sorry about that, man. I guess you need to start reading the messages before I start hitting the buzzer.
Bro,
So.
hit him with
And with an air horn for that. Like, oh, geez, man. Like,
this has been a
now,
chaotic 10 minutes on the show.
I'm about to say, now I want to do away with the soundboard entirely, man. That's horrible stuff, man. That's awful. My bad, man.
wow.
My bad. What's up?
Auburn continues their bleed. Auburn star wide receiver Eric Singleton has entered the transfer portal.
Wow.
Hey, that's who I want.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get him.
That dude
That's
is
who I
good.
want. I like that kid.
Yeah. But so it said he had been set to turn pro, but now he's just in the portal.
Guess
So
That's a boogie flan. That's what we call a boogie flan.
you know what that tells me, guys, is that he was set to go pro and somebody came to him like, if you get in the portal, I'll offer you this much. And he's like, done. That's what that tells me.
You know who that was, John? On the other end of that phone? Geiska.
Guy, oh man, yeah, just sitting there with a cigar in his mouth. And just be like, hey, let me tell you, here's something. Like, I don't know if that's like, I just somehow I feel he has one of those like cocktail drinks, with a big old cube of ice, just sitting there with a cigar with his sunglasses on top of his head, with the bad tan line. That's just the way I look at it. And that's the way I hope it happens. And that's the way that's the way how you get deals done. And I hope that that's happening. So anyways, but pretty great. Tony, Arkansas is on, they're doing good, man. They're doing good compared to all these other SEC scrubs that
Where
are
the
out
hell
there.
is Quinn?
Dude, he might have entered into the portal at this point in time. Like, he might
Where's
have.
Quinn? We
He's
got
gonna
Auburn
pop up
tomorrow.
when they win.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
That is crazy. It's crazy. Okay. Hey, shout out to our friend Sasha for super chat. You get a little. I read this one first. Don't worry. It says, give us a couple of good Saracen prop bets you recommend for tomorrow, guys. Well, we kind of went through some of them. I mean, anything with Darius Acuff, I feel like you should just bet on. Just
I haven't looked at them, so I don't know the numbers for them, but any of the ones that where you can get the player to score X amount of points and the team to win, I would
give you those.
Give me, what does Malik Thomas to score 15 and Arkansas to win look like?
Okay, so so it's Arkansas to win and Malik Thomas to score 20. That's what it is. I'm sorry. No, you're right. 15. My bad. Plus 185 is for that.
I don't hate that. The Arkansas winning, I think, is going to be the harder part.
I know. That's what's like Darius Acuff to score 15 plus points and to win is only plus 120. But here's the thing that I like, guys. Just throwing it out there. If you're going to do one of these, Arkansas to win and Trevin Brazil to score 20 or more plus 600. So, I could see it because I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I think guys are going to get their points. So,
they should.
That's a good one. Yes. Yeah, if they you watch, this is going to be like the worst offensive performance they have, and it's going to be against the trashiest defense. And it's just like, dadgummit, man.
Why do they keep putting so many Isaiah Sealy props on here?
Because people keep taking them. That's why, and it's so annoying. Don't you remember, what was it, Rocco Pepe for the entire baseball season?
Well, it's weird because it's like if Sealy doesn't play, you just get your money back. But if he enters the game and then doesn't hit the prop, which is what would happen, then you lose. So it's like I bet there's a lot of people who have been betting him and then just get their money back every time because he doesn't play.
Yeah, I could see that. But here's the thing: is I know with SARACEN, the guys over there's a lot of these that they put up, and you got to remember this is Randy Rainwater's the one that sends them. They just put the odds on it. But I think it's like, hey, people keep betting them, and they're going to keep putting it out there. So how you stop it is just don't bet on it anymore.
It's still wild to me that we keep seeing. Like Trevin Brazil to record a double-double plus 275, plus 275. Darius Acuff to record a double-double plus 750. Acuff has more double-doubles than Trevin. I don't know, man.
Well, and him being plus 800 to have 10 assists, I would just bet on that, frankly. One, because it's better odds. Obviously, he's going to have no issue getting the 10 points, but it's like, that's just what I would do. You know what I mean? If you're going to bet on him, because he's like you said, John, Darius Acuff's not going to pull down 10 rebounds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he gets a double-double, you better bet the 10 assist one. You have to bet both because he's not going to get it in steals or block shots. It's just not going to happen. So, which by the way, somebody asked me a funny question the other day. They're like, do turnovers count as part of the double-doubles? It's like, well, no, but that's not something you should bet on. You should hope not. If somebody has 10 turnovers by themselves, that's not.
Hey, that boy James Harden, he's got the only playoff game in NBA history: 20 points, 10 assists, 10 turnovers. No one's ever doing that again. I feel pretty confident.
That is rough. Shout out to our guy Grant for the super chat. Appreciate it. Says it's okay. I told you guys this once at Alumni Hall. Yes, we do remember meeting you, man. And sorry to hear that. And
he didn't take offense to your air horn.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate you. I said I feel awful about that. It's gonna make me feel awful for the rest of the day. But thank you for being forgiving. Okay, Seahog. Okay. Says it's pretty messed up that you guys are making fun of Pope. He deserves a 30-year extension. Great coach. Also, any theories as why Pringle can't catch? Of course, it's sarcasm I can pick up with the Pope thing.
Curtis is right on this. It's not even about the hands at all because it doesn't even get to the hands. It's just the moving your body to get in position to catch. So laziness, I guess. Is what you
looks like an old man out there right now. And I don't know. I'm so tired of talking about it because Arkansas is playing so well and everything, but and I know Pringle's not a big stat guy, but he's just not playing the way that he has in the past. Better at South Carolina, better at Alabama. Arkansas needs better from him. And my thought process on it is he needs to just shut down Keyshawn Murphy entirely tomorrow, or Malik Ewing needs to play 30 minutes. You know what I mean? If he's not just going to completely take their center out of the game, then what are we doing at this point? Let Ewing play.
Yeah. Well, I saw somebody, and I'm sure I'm going to get yelled at by a parent. Somebody tweeted at me, be like, I'd rather see Jonas Adu out there than Nick Pringle. And I'm like, yeah?
Sure, yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he was great.
Say because pretty sure Jonas Adu, was it the St. John's game that he just really had a great game? Was it that one?
Kansas, he cooked in the first half, especially against Kansas. But yeah, he was good. He was good in both of those first two NCAA tournament games.
Yeah, he did good. Heartbroken Hog says, Curtis, do you think it's possible that Pringle is upset about his minutes or usage in the system?
Well, he shouldn't be because he hasn't done anything and he's playing more minutes than Malik Ewing. He should be thankful of how this is looking for him right now. He's still in the starting lineup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Ewing's been the guy who's emerging here. And also he signed up to come to Arkansas knowing that he was going to be in a platoon with Malik Ewan. So, but no, like Nick Pringle's never been the guy that's had like poopy face over minutes or whatever. He's the epitome of accepting a role and thriving in it, and being great in his own situation there. And that's what what we're waiting to see. If I don't care if he ever scores a point or grabs a rebound, if he's given like that contagious like Billy Richmond type of energy and intensity in the front court, because that's always been his thing, and the physicality and all that. And he's always been a guy that's he's loud and he's beating his chest and yelling after a big defensive play and stuff. Like we're just waiting to see that.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, guys, On Three has already put in a prediction for Eric Singleton. He's transferring to Florida. That's their prediction. So, anyways,
okay, fair enough.
Quick moving there. Let's see. Also to your point about Nick Pringle, it keeps reminding me of almost like the Ricky Scott situation. I'm sure I always reference this. Ricky Scott, when he played for Arkansas, would start every game, but they'd take him out after the first under 4 timeout or under 16 timeout, and he'd never play again. I was like, so why do you start him? And it's kind of that thing of like the minutes and everybody's getting. But
there's been too many times lately, whether it's the beginning of the game or that first rotation of the second half, where it's like 90 seconds in and we're going, good Lord, get you in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Nick's had his moments and everything like that. I just know he's a better player than what he's been showing right now.
Yes.
And Arkansas needs if you're going to have a short rotation like this, you really need all 8 guys to be giving you something. So hopefully he figures it out here.
Yeah. We just got a few minutes, guys. So real quick, just to get to some real quick stuff. But Andrew, I know you got to hear from Dave Van Horn today. Any news, any updates, any juicy stuff from the old ball coach, old Skip?
Yeah, there's a lot, man. 35 minutes worth of Dave talking. I mean, he was asked about freaking every guy on the roster. So a lot of really good stuff. And you don't get to hear from him too much. So it was good. We're going to talk a little bit more about it on the Bombastic. But the big headline, I would say, Brenton Clark officially out for the year. The worst kept secret in the state of Arkansas the last couple weeks. So that sucks for him. And honestly, it sucks more for Brenton. Like, it's, the Hogs, he was projected to start at right field. I thought he was going to start over Damian Ruiz, who was one of their top portal guys, and he was playing better than him. I thought he had a chance to start over him and Zach Stewart. Arkansas is going to be able to make it work, and so it hurts Arkansas, but it really sucks more for Brenton. I mean, this is a kid that was awesome last offseason. They redshirted him, and he was cool about it. He understood, okay, you brought in these veteran outfielders. I'm not going to get to play. Let me just redshirt, go out, get my ABs in California. Let me get ready for next year, and he got ready for next year. And then was sitting there ready to steal a starting spot here. And then this happens. You tear your labrum. That's 4 straight seasons. Arkansas has had some type of shoulder injury. That's weird. You can come up with whatever theory you want on that. I think it just sucks. But I think Arkansas is going to be fine. I would say notable in Nolan Souza, by the way, cleared for practice. He's going to be a full participant. That's awesome. Dave was a little bit skeptical about if he was going to be able to throw at full strength. So we'll see what position he's able to play. He might DH at first. But Carson Brumball, Dave said his name. And Dave doesn't talk about freshmen much at all until you get into the season, and he kind of has to. Like even Peyton Stovall. You cannot find a clip of Dave saying Peyton Stovall's name until like February before his freshman year. He waits until like he knows these freshmen are going to contribute. And then he did the thing where he was talking about shortstop, and he's like, yeah, we've got, TJ Pompey and a freshman, Carson Brumball. He just went ahead and said it. And I was like, thank you. And he actually talked about the possibility of starting a freshman at shortstop, which he said it. And I agree. I can't remember that ever happening. John, can you remember a starting true freshman shortstop at Arkansas? If there's been one, there's maybe been one, but there's no way there's been multiple. So I think that's definitely notable.
I don't know if he started, but I know Tim Carver, my boy Tim Carver, played at shortstop as a true freshman, because he's the one that started the Virginia. Yeah. But I don't know. That may have been his redshirt freshman year.
I was going to say, I think he was a redshirt freshman.
Okay, so to your point, though, yes, it has not been often, because last time we checked, I think playing shortstop is tough for a true freshman and getting into SEC play. So, yeah, that'd be big. Which I guess we're roughly a month away from baseball season starting up, for crying out loud. I mean, this is crazy.
Practice on Monday. They'll have a scrimmage next Friday. I'm fired up for that. So like 1 week from today, there will be actual scrimmage breakdowns on the Bombastic podcast.
Excellent. And just a final thing too, unless we have any other chats, but guys, just real quick, what'd you make of the college football playoff game last night, Ole Miss Miami, and what do you make of tonight's game between Indiana and Oregon in the rematch?
It's a fun game, man. It was a good watch, a back and forth. Once again, I couldn't get enough of seeing Mario Cristobal when the camera would pan over to him. Dude's nuts. He's crazy. I didn't realize he was a psycho like that. And, him getting ready to suplex one of his assistants there for giving him the big hug when there's still 18 seconds left on the clock. That was golden. I love that. But hell of a game, man. Nobody really knew what to expect from Ole Miss given their coaching situation. Some people felt like Miami shouldn't even been there. Both those teams very worthy. Miami's a lot of fun. The U, we can do the thing with Indiana, and because I understand it's a really cool story and everything, but I'm not gonna lie, there's a little part of me that's like, it'd be cool for Carson Beck to overcome the Cavender curse and make his move and get the natty. I kind of like Miami. I'm not gonna lie.
I like Miami too, man. I've been really impressed with what they've done in the playoff and just the physicality. I also came away from last night really impressed with Ole Miss. I thought they were awesome. Trinidad Chambliss, I mean, thank God he's not going to be in the SEC next year because that dude's a stud. And so I can only imagine what he would look like next year. But I thought both teams were game, and I think if you had told me it was going to be a shootout, I would have been like, wow. So Ole Miss probably wins that one. Credit to Carson Beck, man. I never in a million years thought I'd say that. He's made the most of his last year of college football. Kind of just the perfect. He was what they needed, and they were what he needed. And I think they're going to be tough. I think I kind of like Oregon tonight, if I'm being 100% honest with you. I don't know what it is. Indiana's good, and I've doubted Indiana like so many times, and they've proven me wrong so many times. I think I like the Ducks tonight, man. I think I do.
I'm with you, and here's why. Because as we all know, it's tough to beat a team twice in 1 year. Like it just is, and I think that's my biggest thing. But to your point, real quick about Cristobal Curtis, the funniest thing I saw was when he was up on the stage. And they're like doing the awards, and he's like, and they're trying to get him on the press outside in the middle, like Holly Rose, and he's just like, "Hey, can we get all these extra people off of here and actually get our players up here, please?" Like he was just like so amazing. Like, who are you? I don't want you up here. And everyone was like, "Oh man, this guy's like, yeah, he just is a coach." But it's like between him, Signetti's a little psychotic. We know Dan Lanning's psychotic. You got some psychos here. Pete Golding's a little psychopath. Like you got some. Maybe that's what the teams need to start looking for in coaches. You get just absolute psychopaths that are out there. But yeah, I'll admit, I was glad. There's something about Miami, the U. It's just a vibe, dude. There's just something about them, some aura. But I was glad to see because I did not want Ole Miss to keep going. But it should be a great game. And I don't know. Do you guys prefer Oregon or Indiana to play Miami? Like, do you think like if it came down to Miami, like who do you want to win it all? I guess is what it is. Is it Miami or is it Indiana?
I don't guess I care. I'm kind of feeling the Miami thing right now. Okay. And I want it to be against Indiana because I don't want to see too much green.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't want Indiana to win. Now, I'm not going to be sad if they do. I just feel like you got to take your lumps. You got to go through some ups and downs. I don't like the idea of year 2, you just turn things around with the best coach in the country and you just make it work. I want to see him struggle a little bit. I want to see him suffer. And Oregon is the team that I kind of want to win, one, just because I think they're cool, but Oregon, I feel like, has been building towards this for like 40 years. When I was growing up, Oregon, it was really their first ever relevant football moments with DeAnthony Thomas, Marcus Mariota, all these cool Dennis Dixon, all these cool quarterbacks they started having. And that you kind of knew it's like, all right, they haven't been a power, but they're coming. And they've just gotten better and better as a program progressively over the course of like 30 years. So I kind of like that for them. But college football is always fun when Miami's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, fellas, any final thoughts before we roll into it?
We've got final thoughts. We got to keep talking.
Oh, what? Did we already just get somebody?
Yeah, there's another pop. Boston College tight end, Ty Lockwood, 6'4", 245 pounds. He's in there.
There you go.
Sign, baby.
So they added a tight end.
They added a tight end.
So that definitely has to be it at tight end then, right? They've got like 5 now.
Sure. Yeah, I would think so. I'm looking up his numbers right now to see what he contributed to the cause over there. Mr. Lockwood, 2 receptions for 30 yards this season.
Hey, 15 yards a catch. That's a good number.
Yep.
Yeah. Andrew hates him because he played for
seasons of eligibility.
Oh, okay. Good there. Andrew hates him because he played for Bill O'Brien. So he hates him.
No, I love him because he left Bill O'Brien. That's what I like.
There you go. There you go. All right. So yeah, they add another tight end. So now you got Jaden Platt, as well as trying to think of. Okay, so yeah, you got Jaden Platt, Matt Adcock, the guy that's coming in from Memphis, right? And him as the tight end. You also have Maddox Lassiter, which he plays everything. Yeah. Gavin Garrettson, Jeremiah Beck, still in there, and then
Gavin Garrettson, I will say, did actually play this year. Like, got in some actual offensive snaps in games that weren't blowouts. Also, I'm looking at the Ty Lockwood. So he played 57 snaps this year, which isn't a high number. but he played snaps in like every game. You know, he had one game where he played 18, but then he'd play 7, he'd play 2, he'd play 4, he'd play 6, he'd play 3. So he seemed like a specific package blocker, extra blocker type of guy, but he actually was playing a little bit there.
Okay. So
Jeremiah Beck portaled, didn't he?
man, that's hard keeping up. I assume you're right. Because
I think Beck, okay. I think Beck, I'm almost positive Beck hit the portal.
Okay.
Well,
I
I
trust
last
you.
year anyway, so.
Yeah.
I trust you, man. It's tough to keep up with this with one team. I can't imagine doing it with every team. So,
sheesh, I know.
But yeah, Jeremiah Beck from Cucamonga, California. So no longer, but either way. Well, there you go. You got yourselves a tight end, folks, and we'll see the rest because they're not done yet. They're still going to have portal pops. But besides the portal pop, guys, any final thoughts before we roll out of
here? No, not really. Excited for this basketball game tomorrow. Going to be a lot of fun. Kind of a weird tip time for us here. I guess it's a 6 p.m. there, but to be a 5 p.m. start here in Arkansas. So make sure you watch the game and then tap in for the Pod the Palace post game show afterwards. Always going to be lively. It should be a highly entertaining basketball game to watch. So I'm looking forward to checking it out and talking about it after.
Yeah. I don't have much to say other than yesterday we had a bombastic. Today we're going to have another bombastic. It's cranking up. We've been going once a week for a while now. Those days are pretty much over. We've got actual things happening. We've got scrimmages coming next week. So we are now in the multiple bombastic per week time period. And that's a great thing. So I hope you all tune in and look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, hopefully. But I'll probably see you later today for something.
Yeah, absolutely. And then that's the thing, folks, is that you heard it. We got Pod at the Palace, we got Bombastic, we got Inside Arkansas Recruiting. If any of you ever say that we don't do enough content, you're banned. You're banned from everything that we do because there's no one putting out more content than what we are here at Inside Arkansas. So be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on our YouTube page, as well as follow us across all social medias. And you can follow our audio podcast wherever podcasts are found as well. And that'll do it for us today, at least on Inside Arkansas Live. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, and intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Next Monday, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next time, whenever that may be. But keep it right here at Inside Arkansas.